past 34 years have been dedicated to dance, and I teach dance, I choreograph, I direct, so I have many different hats. I was a soloist with the dance company, then I became the rehearsal director, and then later on I became the artistic director. We call it dance, but for us, in this philosophy, it's a performing art. So it's not about it's about what you bring into it that takes it from being ordinary into something that is extraordinary. So this is a technique of two men, Alvin Nicolai and Murray Lewis, which were two very well-known, very prolific choreographers, especially in the 60s, 70s, and 80s here in New York City. And they kind of created this philosophy of movement called the Nicolai Lewis kind of technique or approach. I remember clearly when I first came into the school, there was a sense of, you know, we used to have a big studio downtown on 18th Street. It was two studios. One of the studios turned into a black box theater. The company was training there. We had our shop with Nicolai created all his props and scenery. We had offices. And I remember clearly coming into the studio and saying, "Oh my God, I found my home." Once I was helping one of the dancers to go up into this place in the dark, and then they finish the piece, and then I have to help them to come down onto the stage to continue with the next piece. So I remember just walking in the dark, and all of a sudden I disappeared into the shower. There was a hole, or actually the floor was very weak and very soft, and it was just plywood or something. So it just happened that I stepped onto the wrong place, and I ended up a level below in the shower. And then people is like, "Where is Tito? He disappeared." Well, as a teacher of this technique, I really emphasize the ability for a dancer to become quite extraordinary with their choices of movement. So it's not about a certain look or a certain style to the movement, but it's how the dancer is able to make choices. The more choices a dancer makes, the more possibilities one has as a dancer. And just approaching this way of moving from that kind of qualitative approach. It's not about the physicality. The physicality is a vehicle for you to get to something deeper than just movement. Dance is something that is of the moment, and there is many people that come and they go, and some of them leave a mark, and others kind of appear and disappear out of the dance scene. So I think for me it's just, now that both Nicolai and Murray Lewis passed on, my goal or my life mission is to keep this work alive as much as I can. As a teacher, for example, to be able to see my students to move on into a career and see how they not because just whatever I was able to share with them, but how they have built and kind of harness a personality and they have a purpose. 5, 6, 7, and 8.